Hey guys, it's Colin with Ghost Train Comics. Today we're going to be looking at the first 3 volumes of Tom King's Wonder Woman run, starting off with Volume 1, Outlaw. This one was part of the Amazon's Attack event that launched Tom King's run on Wonder Woman and threw us straight into the action with the title Outlaw, giving you an idea of Wonder Woman's treatment and her fellow Amazons' treatment in this book. There's a lot of elements that are set up here, including the future daughter of Wonder Woman, Trinity, which is introduced here, and it's obviously you're scrambling a little bit to keep up with what's going on and who she is and what the situation is here. But everything is explained over the course of these volumes, the first 3, and then into 4 and 5, which are coming out later in the year. In this particular one, the storyline starts to dig into a character known as the Sovereign and the conspiracy of an historical American monarchy. This is something that's been in the water, for years, but especially the last few years, it's come out in a few different places, such as the fantastic Exquisite Corpses book by James Tynion, and then the kind of Secret Orders is something James Tynion and Tom King are both fond of exploring in their books. But this one, with deft character-based psychological explorations of Diana and Steve Trevor, King wields the plot like a surgeon performing micro repairs on Wonder Woman's long and sometimes convoluted history. It's not to everybody's taste. King is something of a divisive author in that you either love him or loathe him. And he's also something of a compartmentalized author where some people will only like a very specific thing he does, like Batman, or they may like the Vision book, or Superwoman, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is the basis for the upcoming movie. So it's always interesting. It's like there's several different writers called Tom King, and some of his critics have even accused him of ghostwriting in some books, without any proof, I should add. I'm a big fan. I've enjoyed almost everything he's done. Heroes in Crisis was well written. I just didn't like the outcome because he messed with Wally West, one of my favorite characters. But that's what King does. He does work, as Lars Pearson said, works best out of, if you put continuity out of your mind. His stuff is excellent interpretations of characters. And he does like to push it a little bit further, like Adam Strange, like the Rorschach book, like the visions and what happens during that book. So most of them will have some element of psychological stretching or breaking or seeing what happens when you push somebody beyond the typical boundary. So for me, it certainly makes for a more interesting, nuanced psychological approach. But do bear that in mind when you're kind of considering whether or not you want to kind of get into this. If you don't mind some boundary pushing for the sake of rewarding storytelling and intense action without pandering to cliches or giving obvious expectations, I think that you'll enjoy this. So I would certainly recommend that you give it a try. The art in Volume 1 by Daniel Sampere and Temu Mori is very elegant, detailed art on the pencils, combined with Temu Mori's subtle colors that really kind of match up and bring the most out of background information and add kind of a high level of detail to the events. Volume 2 of Wonder Woman by Tom King is called Sacrifice. This one has some interesting repeat phrases like the no thank you, which will rapidly cement itself into your brain as one of the key phrases of Tom King's Wonder Woman run. And this is tied in with her trial by combat as a girl and her kind of building out her determination and showing who she is when she has nothing to lose, or when she's on her own, or when the odds are stacked against her, etc. It's showing that stoic ability to push past issues, and how she deals with trauma, which emerges in a few different ways in this book and in book 3, Fury, as well. Book 2 does give an overarching exploration of Diana's capture and treatment at the hands of the Sovereign character we mentioned about Volume 1, and various enemies of Wonder Woman, ending up showing us her strength and where she gets her pool of determination and strength from. Setting up some payoff pieces for book 3. This one is a welcome deviation from previous superhero plots, and instead one that drives home Diana's pride, strength, loyalty, and ability to overcome any situation, even if there are doubts or moments of hesitation. Gil's March and Araf Priento on issue 7 as the art team is a nice contrast to the heavy events of the main Sovereign storyline, with Tony S. Daniel on art in the Absolute Power crossover that is included in this volume, as well as Kerry Randolph with a very distinctively different, more kind of cartoonish style. Keeps the main storyline moving and consistent in its own right, as well as giving us a broader pick of King's Wonder Woman and how she fits in with the rest of the DCU. Volume 3, Fury, of Tom King's Wonder Woman starts with a textbook example of a clinically direct and emotionally excruciating exploration of loss and the stages of grief. King's use of timing here is astoundingly skillful and effective. This reminded me of what he did in Mr. Miracle, and to a degree Adam Strange. So Adam Strange is more an exploration of expectations and political whitewashing and reputational kind of critiques, especially with imperialist, colonialist, propaganda, etc. But with Mr. Miracle and with the Vision storyline and some of the Batman pieces, it reminded me strongly of Mr. Miracle in the aspect of examining grief from a lot of different perspectives and examining post-traumatic stress, something King will be very familiar with from his former duties as an intelligence officer for the CIA. He has brought this into his work before, and we've seen kind of certain pieces of it in, well, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, definitely Mr. Miracle, parts of Batman for sure, the Visions, definitely elements of it there in a very unique way. Heroes in Crisis was all about heroes that snap, or heroes that are pushed too far and need to kind of do some work to recover their mental health, etc. But like the first storyline here really does drive home how good King is getting inside somebody's head and sharing that with us and giving us the raw, full experience. Something that a lot of comic writers would shy away from previously, but certainly the last few years we're starting to get into some of them. The development of Fury here I found intriguing on many levels. Is interesting to me as a longtime fan. I'm sure a lot of people got the obvious Easter egg on that one with the original pre-crisis Earth 2 Wonder Woman, who was one of the original Golden Age Justice Society adjacent characters, who was allowed to grow old, and where we saw the second generation of characters emerge as the supergroup Infinity Incorporated on Earth 2. And Wonder Woman's daughter there, Lyda Trevor, was codenamed Fury. Her superhero identity was Fury. Showing that King isn't without a sense of fun and fondness for the more obscure corners of the DCU. Detective Chimp is featured in the most fantastic Columbo pastiche issue contained in this volume, as Diana and the Wonder Girls take their elaborate revenge against the Sovereign and co. Featuring backups in a lovely art contrast, with Kerry Randolph doing Jimmy Olsen and the Daily Planet crew balancing against the gorgeous, clean and dynamic art of the main artist, leading us through to the end of this volume 3. Volume 4 and 5 will be out later this year. I will go ahead and do a review of them when they come out. But from these first 3 volumes, very, very solid foundations laid, plot seen all the way through. A lot of examination that I don't think you would have seen done with Wonder Woman and the supporting characters before. Whilst there are some very beloved runs like Greg Rucka, like obviously George Pérez in the post-crisis relaunch, Gail Simone. A lot of beloved runs for this character. And to me, King's Run will stand very much as its own thing. Whatever your thoughts on it are, I think it will stand the test of time, just like his Batman run did. Depending on how he ends it up, of course. But certainly one definitely worth checking out and seeing if you form your own opinion on it and what you think. But if you do enjoy some good kind of modern grown-up comics with a more psychological edge, I think you'll really get into this. So let me know in the comments. As always, please like and subscribe, share if you can. Your support is much appreciated, and any comments letting us know how we're doing and what else you'd like to see would be very welcome. But thank you guys as always, and until next time, bye-bye.